Stuck, yeah. There we go. There we go. How you doing, my brother? How's it?
Salam.
What's
What's
up?
going on? I see you got the shades on again. Is the vision still a little messed up?
Nah, it's better. But the sunlight is a little glare. You know what I mean? So I just let it. It helps. I'll say that it helps. The other ones
Man,
work. The other ones work better, but these, they do what they do.
hey, we gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings with Eritrea, the mother of civilization. I don't know if they ready for that. You
Yeah,
know?
that hit me last minute, brother, and I had to just flow with it. I actually
Oh, I'm
just
with you. I
I
just
actually
don't think that the people are gonna. Right, we're gonna get a lot of people. First of all, that never knew about Eritrea. They're gonna start telling us. I promise you. In about a couple of months, we're gonna start gaining more traction, and people are gonna come out the woodwork and telling us all these things of Eritrea they've always known.
they've been keeping it tucked.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, they kept it in the cut. On the low. I'm talking about everything else, and it's gonna be the brother Reggies and the Sabirs and the Unk. I literally have heard Unk use etiquette in a weird way. So he said he was on the show with on Sinetta, right?
Uh,
And they were Jabari and him were debating. No, it was Jabari and someone else, and Unk was like the people in the background, or he was on the stage or something. The debate wasn't about him, and he says, "Oh, they're talking about DNA." He was like, "I got that Eritrea." Hear me. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, cut it out. You don't know anything about, and what is your reach here?
but wow, that's crazy. I'm sitting here because I'm trying to get this uploaded here. Can you hear me? I don't know if you're
Loud and
signaling
clear.
out. Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Not
Okay.
loud. I can hear you.
All right, I'm just uploading this thumbnail. You can keep talking. I'm listening. I'm just letting you know what I was doing because this here is gonna be. Let me see what we got. That's it there.
Yeah, man. I had to explain to somebody uh, why I don't refer to myself as black,
Oh,
and he tried to tell me, well, you know that all these civil rights activists have used that word to describe what makes you better than them, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
wow. Yeah, that's a strong little argument there, and it's sad to see where the thinking of our people is at one point, but at the same time, I think it allows us the opportunity to elucidate some things, and because most people who will make that comment, like you just said, will be like, well, um, those people are going to be the most Pan African minded type people. So when you let them know that by calling themselves black, by identifying as black, you literally are accepting the so-called white supremacist ideology to basically rule your way of thinking, and you have adopted the white supremacist ideology as your own at that point. Once you once you check that box, you get what I'm saying. You've basically said, "Oh, I'm I, yes, I'm massa," and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but I'm just being as real and as candid as possible when it comes to that, because that's literally what's happening. If you identify as black, identify as Negro, colored, Ethiopian, or African American, you are identifying either with a slave label, some type of pejorative or derogatory term that has been utilized to degrade you and to put you in your lowest. Um, and it's facts. I can actually pull up those slides for that. And but I don't want to get off track because we do have a topic here of dealing with Eritrea, the mother of civilization. So I wanted to keep it on track. So let's where do you want to start?
I mean, I think you got some slides. You got some
Yeah,
information. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
man.
I think we should just start busting down some of these slides.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. Phew. All right, I'm gonna start here. I think this is a really good one. Let me share my screen. I think I pulled this one up briefly, but I think it's a good place to start.
Man, I see you updated your house. That's clean.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's sitting up in the playroom. You know, this is my son's room slash playroom. So I just had to, instead of moving the dollhouse and the game and the
Oh no, no, no,
keyboard.
no. You got
Yeah.
you got the no, you got the whatchamacallit, the background. It
Oh
shows something
yeah.
different.
Oh yeah.
It's
For
not the
sure.
actual where you're at. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I just was like, let me put this up here so I don't have to change anything in the background. I do have a green screen and backdrops and stuff, but I was like, this will be easier. I don't have to have no props up and stuff. But yeah, so let me make this a little bit bigger.
Out of Africa migration.
Yeah, I think it's gonna lighten up in just a second. Let's see here. Oh, there we
You
go.
know, I think this is huge, right?
So
This slide you got right here is huge for many reasons, right? Because for one, they're naming Eritrea, no other African country. They're naming Eritrea, and then they're
yeah.
saying this is the out of Africa migration. So if we're all under the consensus, right, that left Africa, then how is this not the place? I mean, I'm confused. Help me.
Yeah. Look, yeah, that's why that title kind of hit me, man. I'll be honest with you, because the more I touch on it, the more I think about it, the more I uh, read up on it. It's like, it was interesting. Like when I first came into information about the Moors and the history of the Moors and how far you can trace it back. But when I trace the Moors as far back as they can go, I basically trace them back to Eritrea, and it's like, oh, okay,
Well, hey, okay. So we gotta kind of clear some stuff up, right? Because I actually got into I challenged Sabir Bey.
mm,
I was on the show and I challenged him because he tried to tell me that I would find the word more in Gittys, and he was $1,000 challenge, and he got
mm,
mad because I told him you're not gonna find the word more. So I don't want him to watch this video and then
uh,
say, see, you owe me $1,000. No, sir, that is not what we're talking about here.
yeah,
I
that's
never
definitely
once said the Moors aren't connected to East Africa or Eritrea or Gypsy. What I said is you never will find more in Gittys. But when we know who Moors are, right, it doesn't even matter if people, you know what? I'm not even gonna go into what people think about the Moors, but one of these days we're gonna break down and show the connection of whatever you want to call them, right? These individuals that ended up going into Europe were known as Moors. Where they originated from, we could debate that, but there is a connection. But I just don't want him and some of his cheerleaders to watch this video and then create a response video and say, "Oh, he owes you $1,000 because this ain't that and that ain't this."
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, I don't want anybody to get it misconstrued for sure. Basically, what I was saying is that when you trace it all the way back to the most ancient people that you can trace Moors to, it's like those people they came from somewhere. You know what I mean? And they seem to come from this one area that we know as Eritrea, and some of the other countries in the vicinity that have annexed that land, or that have had that land annexed to them. So yeah, so that's really my point here. I just got finished doing a demonstration. I was trying to figure out how to get you on, but I wasn't sure how to do it without stopping everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I would have had to send myself the link to my email and then copy it and send it to you. But yeah, I wanted to start with this one. I thought this would be a good one, but you made a good point as far as the migration of the out of Africa theory, right? We're talking about, okay, they actually left from this place, and yeah, there's a lot you can get from this source and this year that's being put here. But we can leave that for another time. And that's kind of what I did on the last demonstration. I kind of left it, uh, although I was thorough. I kind of left it in the air just a little bit, just in case somebody wanted to debate, especially the brother that I was referencing. I'm actually not sure if he's a brother or not. Uh, but
Who
I
are you
think
talking
that
about?
wasn't it Kataza, Kat, Ta, Takaza,
Who the dude that looks European that claiming he a Hebrew?
Yeah, Captain something.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely capping. They all capping.
Oh, I gotta change the title now. Oh, Captain. That's perfect.
We got a presentation by a young captain talking about how he a Hebrew, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the first slide. So I mean, dang, did we knock it out the park too early with that slide?
We did, but it's self-explanatory though. This is the
Because
part.
dang, like, dude, I think we moved too fast. Because even if I'm gonna have to add some more slides to this particular file, because now that I'm doing some some reflection on this, like there's so much archaeological evidence in this region uh, that points to this being the cradle. Um, but I think that was an excellent slide. Let me see if I have another one. Um, I mean, I might have put this one up last time. I think I did, but
We did.
think it's I think it's worth touching on.
100%. It's just showing more of the connection going back. If this is the mother of civilization, we have to be able to draw connections from all these major civilizations. We can
Right.
draw and do not, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when we say this with fact. We can back this up. We can show the connections going from Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, ancient Egypt, all back to Eritrea, not Ethiopia, not Kush, which that's a whole demo we got to do one of these days too, on what these places actually look like in ancient time. We cannot use our modern way of looking at geography to break
Yeah.
down history because it doesn't make sense. They've already explained to us they carved up Africa. There's literally, watch, let me get one of my books real quick where it shows how they partitioned off Eritrea. So the map of Eritrea we see today, and you've heard me say it plenty of times for years now, it is much larger than what we know it to be right now.
Hmm. You still with us, brother?
Yeah, I'm here. I went to go get the book. So when I
Okay.
open up this book, uh, and this book has some interesting information, but it where does it show? I want people to realize this when they're looking at history. This is not going to touch on Tadneta, but it's touching on Eritrea. So this was a prophetic words, prophetic following the prophetic words at the UN General Assembly in the early 50s. Even from ancient times, Eritrea was never under the control of Ethiopia. Did not the popular uprising start against them Ethiopians so that the country Eritrea would not be under their control? If you comprehend the evidence submitted, are you contemplating to join Eritrea in a federation with a historical enemy? Historical. Why are we being denied the same natural right of nations to be independent? Why are we being denied the same rights bestowed upon Libya and Somalia? If a wrong decision is going to be taken for all the 4 steps we take to oppose the decisions, fight for our rights, gain our freedom, safeguard our survival, the members of this committee will be responsible for any unrest and turmoil that erupts in East Africa. Now, many things were touched on. Right now, to this day, we see a lot of turmoil and unrest that does erupt in East Africa by these same individuals that have lied to you and lied to all of us, saying that Eritrea is part of Ethiopia, saying that Eritrea wasn't the mother of all civilizations, question mark, right? But when we look at the evidence, the Tadnetas, the land of Punt, the boat making skills, they needed from Abydos. We were those seafaring people. We were seafaring before any of the so-called Greeks, before anybody else. We were seafaring. Matter of fact, to even hit this even more to home, a lot of people speak about Dr. Ben, but they don't talk about how Dr. Ben said that Queen Magda, who most people know as Queen Sheba, actually had maps of Central and South America. We're talking about before a lot of these Colombos were on the map.
So let me see
And
if I
she
can
comes
pull
from
it
Eritrea.
up.
So Queen Sheba
Say it one
is
more
the
time.
story. That's Queen Sheba, Queen Magda. That's yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, she is from Eritrea. That
okay.
book is written in Ge'ez, the oldest Shemitic language, not the Septuagint, not no Hebrew or what people consider to be Hebrew, because that's not what it was called back then. It was Ge'ez, the oldest Shemitic language that is still today found in Eritrea, that is spoken, right? Because they call it a dead language too, which is it's absurd. I don't know how they can call it a dead language, and because I don't call it there's Ge'ez. So I don't know how it's dead. It's alive and thriving.
So I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but just speaking to what you're saying, at least to some point, you see here, and of course, just excuse the expressions here of Ethiopia and just read between the lines a little bit. Um, Evidence from the life of Queen of Sheba or Queen Magda, right, supporting the hypothesis that the Hebrew originated in West Arabia and possibly Ethiopia, and formed the early Israelite states between Timah and Yemen, as well as the Demot Kingdom in Ethiopia/Eritrea, which lasted till about 970 AD. The Israelites, Jews, only settled in what is now modern Palestine, Israel, after 586 BC. The Ethiopians have the original Torah, right, which was subsequently altered on a massive scale by Ezra's circle. And of course, we just have to fill in the
Right.
blanks there.
100%. Yeah,
But
but see what people need to do when they read something like this, right, is take the attributes. Because what I have learned to do is most of the books that I read hardly ever say Eritrea, but one has to be a very inquisitive. You have to use your inquisitive mind to figure this out, to break it down, right? You gotta go beyond what the author is just writing and look at what the author is trying to tell you. And that's if to say the author really knows, because for a fact he's saying Ethiopia. But why is this author saying Ethiopia? Because when we look at Ethiopia, we know they didn't accomplish anything that would be remotely close to what this author is talking about. But we do see every one of these attributes fitting perfectly like a puzzle in Eritrea. But everywhere else it's scattered. But when you look at Eritrea, it is very, 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 very like such an overwhelming amount of evidence that you find connecting everything back to Eritrea. Even they're talking about DMT. We're gonna do a demo one of these days too about Demot. we're gonna break down Dermot and go to Sabines. We're gonna go into Yemen because in our language, when you can literally say Yamanka, and that's the direction in which Yemen is. And when you say it, Yemen, Yaman, Yemen, Yaman, Yaman, Yamanka, Yemen. That's it. And they break down the connections between certain kings and a certain kings list that belong in a certain location, and it starts to make more sense. But if somebody just reads this and says, "Oh, it's Ethiopia," well, okay, but we just read to you from this book. It's called The Ancient History of Eritrea from Ancient Times to Independence, page 80. Ibrahim Sultan literally says, did not the popular uprisings start against them Ethiopians? If you comprehend the evidence submitted, are you contemplating to join Eritrea in a federation with a historical enemy? Historical. So this is a long time coming.
Yeah, that's deep. And as you can see here, I got the Kingdom of Demot, the picture, and you can see where it sits on the map, and we can clearly see that this is not Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. It's clearly Eritrea, but are they gonna say it? No. They're
Hey,
gonna
look,
try to
and
sue.
look. You know what's interesting? It says it, and then it like almost unsays it. So you see here it says like Demot, unvocalized is Demot, theoretically vocalized as the Damat.
Dama.
Damat was Damat was a kingdom located in Eritrea, right? And it has it in highlighted in blue, and then it says and northern Ethiopia, which existed between 10th and 5th century BC. But if I'm not mistaken, let me pull this up because I don't want to say this in error. So let's look at the terminology dealing with Ethiopia, right? And the reason why we're going to do that is we're going to see. Let's date this real quick and see if the dates match, right? So late 14th century from Latin Ethiops, Ethiopian Negro, from Greek Ethiops, long supposed in popular etymology to be from Ethium to burnt face, later sunburn, Homeric Ethiopian. I was hoping this had a date on here. What did I say? 1878. The first six books of Homer's Iliad. Charles Anthony. Oh, that's the note. So I don't have the exact date. Give me 1 second. Actually, we're gonna pull it up because I just want to check that. What was that? Homer's Iliad.
They even lately too. They're switching up. I'm hearing about how the Dead Sea Scrolls mentions Eritrea.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna do some research on
Yep.
that. So this says Iliad, Odyssey, dated to the 8th, early 7th century. Okay. So let me run it back here. What was a slide to demote, right? So here we're going back to the 10th century BC. So this basically is saying that Ethiopia did not even exist as a word on the planet Earth when Demot came into being, based on what I just pulled up. If you
Right.
were
And
to date the
go ahead.
Iliad of Homer, yeah, if you date the Iliad of Homer, the term Ethiopia didn't even exist. But the term Red Sea or Red Sea Kingdom has existed throughout time, as far as from what I've found. Meaning Eritrea, the term Eritrea in one language or another has always existed. Is my point of saying that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Also, in this
that's one thing.
book, yeah,
No, go
no,
ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
you're good. There's an individual by Lewis Williams from 1986 to 91. Pearson in 2002. The specific style can also be accredited to a ritual or shamanistic activity as seen in South Africa. People undergoing certain kinds of sensory deprivations or enhancement universally experience phosphonis, and such altered states of perceptions are typical ritual or liminal states. Therefore, it seems reasonable to draw a connection between rock art depicting phosphonis and shamanism or some forms of non-specific ritual activity. This is supported by the presence of many instances of rock art sites produced in the context of shamanistic trance from Eritrea in southern Africa.
Mm.
Because I've heard a lot of people try to say, oh, well, Eritrea, what's the connection to the rest of Africa? It's a huge connection to the rest of Africa. Before that first slide we showed you, out of Africa, we migrated within Africa.
That's right.
So it's only fitting that, and that's kind of goes back to the whole thought process. When if you're going to say an individual, a set group of people are in West Africa, and then those said group of people say they migrated from East Africa, how are they not going to have that connection or that bloodline not running through them? Not all of them, but some of them would still have it, right? So it's just weird to me that they make this disconnect, and it's odd that they harp on very for lack of a better word, they harp on countries that are bootlickers, like the Ethiopias, the Egypts, the Nigeria. We've seen these people, these countries, not the people, but the country, the leaders of these countries, heavily work with the Western hegemony, heavily work with those same colonizers that have continued to misguide our people and to put their foots on our necks, for lack of a better term.
Mm. Yeah, that's these are things that aren't even discussed in these conversations. So I mean, it's important that these different things get brought up. I heard Sabir Bey talking about Sephardic Jews the other day. Did you catch that?
I saw the title. I didn't actually watch. I'm telling you, ever since that last interaction that I had with him, where he literally went left, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. Not to tarnish the brother's name, but I just feel like we all have a responsibility to put out the right information, the truth to people. And for some reason, people, I don't know, they wanna be the first ones to say it. I don't know if they really care about the information being true, because I've been working with a lot of these brothers for some years now, and if they're still saying Ethiopia, if they're saying something other than Eritrea, then there's a disconnect. There's an issue there, and we need to sit down like adults, like men, and have a conversation about the facts, not emotions, not feelings. Where do these ancient scripts lie? We cannot start giving credit to people that had nothing to do with it. Period. So, but go ahead, break down that Sephardic Jew, because I'm pretty sure he tried to connect it to Ethiopia somehow.
I missed it. I thought you might have caught it. It's the reason I even asked you because I had a slide that kind of touched on it. But you know, Sephardic Jews are basically African Jews that were in Spain as well, and you know my my last name, like my bloodline, is Sephardic. You know, uh, so I just I was just asking in general, so it wasn't for any specific reason, but I
Oh
wondered
yeah.
if you caught it, see if there was anything I needed to go back and watch.
I mean, at this point, I've seen and I've literally spoke with this brother, had builds with this brother, right? And I wouldn't have to see his videos to know for sure he's talking about Ethiopia somehow, some way, and that's perfect because this goes into what I just opened up in this other book, right? Because they love to read books, so let's open up some books, right? This book on this page 253 says the green glass bowl is very well preserved. No equivalent example has been documented during the various excavations at Axum, and we
Is
all
this,
we all know we all know what Aksum is to a lot of these people.
real quick, is that one of the pages you sent me?
No. But let me send you this one.
Okay,
Let me
okay,
let me
because
send you.
I have all of
Yeah,
those lined up. So
yeah. This is a whole. Man, I'm telling you, we got some books over here, and so the when you Google, if you do a simple Google right now, so we can show the audience, if you Google the the most ancient kingdom in East Af or in Ethiopia or in Eritrea, they're gonna go to Aksum. Just doing a simple Google, they're gonna connect it right back to Aksum. But these archaeologists, these geologists are saying no, this information has nothing to do with Ethiopia.
let's see. Yep. What does it say? Aksum is the first verifiable kingdom of great power to rise in the region. It's a trading empire of the area
Yeah.
of Ethiopia and
I-
Eritrea.
oh, they see how they try to. They always try to put in Eritrea somehow, some way, because they know the truth is there, but the lie has been told under the Ethiopia umbrella, so they got to keep pushing that lie.
Yep.
But in this book, done by professionals, right? Not just somebody that's trying to push an agenda. They're telling you it's never been documented in Aksum. Also, it says the vessel source was this perfectly preserved emerald green. So now we have a certain kind of color. Now these colors, we're also going to talk about purple, right? That purple has a certain power to it. This emerald green has certain relevance to it, right? And they say this perfectly preserved emerald green glass bowl testifies to trade networks that likely reached into the Near East, possibly Mesopotamia, rather than an origin to the north, either in Egypt or the Roman Empire. So it's telling you the origins don't come from the north. It doesn't come originally from no Mesopotamia. It all comes back, as the title says, the mother of civilization going into Eritrea, which is even more so because when we look at Mesopotamia, they tell you that Sargon and these Akkadians and these people in Sumer were speaking a Semitic language. And when we
That,
look at the oldest Semitic language, we still got to go back to Eritrea. So it don't matter how people flip it, they will see they have to go back into Eritrea. But the issue is, right, people will now start to look at the dates and say, well, this date doesn't make sense, of course. But if you look at what the scholars are telling you and listen to the attributes, for one, what does Dr. Ben say? Dr. Ben says, and so does John, they say that Egypt had three golden ages before these Europeans came out of caves.
mm,
So, okay, that automatically concedes that no European should be able to be telling us anything about this information if it's not connecting it back to Eritrea. So, if they say anything else, then we're going to tell them, hey, how do you know? You was in caves anyways. Because they all say that the Egypt comes from, and if we put up that other slide about Time Nether, Egypt and these Egyptians claim, right, this connection back to the land of Punt, the land of gods, a place that is not Egypt, a place north or south, depending on how we look at this flow of the Nile, all right, away from Egypt, and which shows you the home, the birthplace of the original Semitic language, the birthplace. And some people, if they Google now, because we've been putting this information out there, the father of all languages. So now we got Get is the father of all languages. We're on the land, the continent that most people call the mother continent, but let's get more specific, the mother of civilization. So we got the
yep.
father of language and the mother of civilization. There's your parents. There's your lineage right there.
So you can see it right there. All right. So is
Yep.
Giz the oldest language? Giz, the language is believed by scholars to be circa 5,000 years old, making it the oldest of all languages, considered the father of language. So that's pretty simple. And then inside that same Google search, I don't know if you saw, but if you scroll down a little bit further, it said what was the earliest civilization in East Africa, and it's referencing Punt. And that reference to Punt is based on a reference written in ancient Egypt almost 5,000 years ago, more like 4,500 years ago.
Right.
So
And that demo, not to cut you off, but real quick, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. What did Dr. Gabriel just tell us, right? So if we're using this information and we're using our discernment, right? And they're saying that the connection that the ancient Egyptians or Gips from Gipsy are making to the land of Punt circa around 4500. Even though I don't like to rock with these dates, but then we'd have to understand there's no way that they created that language, sophisticated it the way they did within that 500 years.
No, you're right. So check this out. So to your point, if I scroll up just a little bit, right after I read that first one, where it was what is the oldest empire in East Africa, it also came up under what is the oldest kingdom in Africa, and it referenced ancient Egypt. But then in that quote, it's referencing 3000 BC, right? So knowing that if we're talking now, we're talking 5,000 years, right? But we're saying that this civilization that's being referenced at 5,000 years is saying that this is the oldest civilization of Punt, right? But the language that is spoken in Punt is also considered the oldest language. And the only reason they date that at 5,000 years, which we spoke of on the first episode of the origins of Egyptians, uh, it became clear that the only reason they're able to make that claim is that the oldest uh, Giz script is found circa 5,000 years ago. So, which means that it was already fully developed. So we don't really know. And you also made a great point as to the amount of archaeological destruction that was done uh, by a individual who is known as Haile Selassie, right? Um, and if you want to touch and go a little bit deeper into that, you can. But I just
Oh,
wanted
let's do
to,
that.
I
No,
just
no,
want
no.
to,
Let's do that if you can. There is because we were actually having this conversation on Clubhouse the other day. One of the elders was telling us on how uh, there's documents online how Haile Selassie was paid several millions of dollars to actually work with people to rewrite this history. And also, we can Google and find that Haile Selassie went on a scorch the earth campaign throughout Eritrea on a lot of historical sites, burning books and ancient historical sites.
that's horrible.
That is beyond horrible because what's unfortunate is, and then this kind of goes back to Sanetta's TV show or whatever, his little thing. He really likes. There's this brother named Revelations or something like that. It's a Jamaican artist.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And this brother would not stop riding the coattail of Haile Selassie. He was like, "Ah, he's the savior, man. He's blah blah blah. He's the one. He's the prophet, man. He's the last." Marcus Messiah Garvey said he would come from the east, man. And I was like, "That's crazy." So your savior kills his own people, throws a lavish party while millions of his own people are starving. This is the Messiah. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's deep. And I think I had revealed that to you some years ago that that's a history that's not really shared or discussed. I feel like a lot of it is, dare I say, hidden, um, and not even hidden to where you can't find it, but just hidden in plain sight. Everything you hear about Haile Selassie, at least on this side of the water, is mostly positive things. So I've never heard any of my Rasta brethren sharing any negative aspects to Haile Selassie's history, as if these things never happened, which alludes me to the fact that they're not aware of these things. They're simply identifying with some of the scriptural references that line up with maybe some of the titles and supposed lineage, which once that's dug into, it's found out that the lineage is made up and he's not part of the bloodline, which is claimed. for him. So
This dude is a micro mini midget. This is the crazy thing. It's like if somebody was to tell you about an individual that you personally knew, right? And then they said, man, this brother is such a humble, and you laugh in your head like, no, do you really know the dude? Like, I ain't talking about him, but that's not him. This man can't be trusted. He's unloyal. He does whatever he can for money. It's a the end. And what's unfortunate is because I got nothing but love for a lot of my Jamaican brothers and sisters, but the problem is, like you said, they haven't been privy to this information. All they know is what the propaganda, and this is the power of their propaganda. They control the media, so they have. And this is also the same conversation that I've had. Not trying to go off topic, but when people tell me Democrat, Republican, I'm like, it don't matter. At the end of the day, they're doing the bidding of somebody that's even more evil, and they have no great intentions for us. So, and that's how I look at this. When they're being told about Haile Selassie, it's like you really don't know this individual, how evil, how sick, sadistic. He sold his soul, told you a history he's not even connected to, because then that would mean he's Eritrean. That book, that understanding, that knowledge comes from Eritreans, not Ethiopians. And because it's not being, and these people own, so think about it. He's getting paid millions to rewrite this history, to work with those same people. He's going to kiss the ring, right, of that European lady, and then he comes back and he does a scorch the earth campaign of the real historical sites.
Let me stop you for a second. We got to rewind. You said he's kissing rings of European ladies. Can you?
So he goes back to England. Yeah, so he goes back to England several times, and there's images of him kissing the ring of the royal, disgusting blood. Was the not really royal, but that's what they took over.
Hold on a second. Images. Oh, hold up. You know what? I gotta pull it up. He said he's kissing the ring, folks. Wow. Hold on. Oh, it's video of it. Okay.
Oh, there's a video. Play it.
You said play it. Oh, let me see. Let me go back. Let's see.
Hey man, they gotta get the real deal.
Let me see. Hopefully this will play. It's loading. Let me know if you hear it. You able to hear that?
No, but it's okay. It's okay. The audience can hear it though, I'm sure.
Hopefully they can.
Actually, let me log in. I'm gonna log in with my tablet, and then I'm gonna go on the see if I can hear it.
Okay. Oh wow. So uh, uh, hold on. All right. So can you see that?
What we got? I can see it. I can see
Oh
it. Oh
yeah.
yeah, there you go. There you go the sellout. There go your Messiah.
Oh wow. Okay. So a picture speaks. Y'all seen it here, folks. I don't know if y'all have seen that before. If you've never seen that, go ahead and donate. Go ahead and support the show because we need your support. Help us bring this information to the forefront to the public because we'll keep on doing it. Wow. Oh, please continue, brother. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm gonna let that hang there for a second.
Yeah. So this is around the same time where he does the Scorch the Earth campaign, he's begging to get more money, more guns, more everything, just so he can destroy Eritrea. Literally, like this individual has. Let me pull up this other book and go into this lunatic real quick. Where is it? Here we go. So, okay, let's go into because this shows the fall of
Wow.
Haile Selassie.
Scorched Earth in Eritrea, 1961 to 1977.
16 years of just destroying valuable history that we could be using to showcase to people right now.
Wow.
Yeah, but this is the Messiah though. Somehow this is the Messiah.
What's the Red Terror?
That's this another one of their
Campaign?
one of,
Murderous campaign?
yeah, one of their campaigns, man.
Wow, bro. This is deep.
This is oh yeah. So it's like that's why when I'm talking to these people and they praising Haile Selassie, I'm like, you praising the wrong. You put your money on the wrong horse, buddy.
Oh yeah, this is deep. I'm gonna have to come back to this. Read this.
Right.
Excuse me. I'm doing a little downloading, so just excuse me for the moment. Got to do some reading, some research.
You know what? I somebody sent me.
So save that.
Somebody and you ain't. Well, you might believe it, but some other people won't believe it. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Am
yeah,
I, okay. So
yeah.
during the
All
Black
the similar
Panther
things that
movement.
he was. Say
Oh,
it
you
again.
chopping up? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I said during the Black Panther movement, I was actually given, and it's on my Twitter, uh, article, and it was talking about Eritrea. So right there, when he's doing that Scorch the Earth campaign, there were brothers and sisters in America that actually wrote about the struggles in Eritrea.
Mm,
Yeah, so that's I got it on my Twitter, but if I back out of here, it's gonna close me out of the stream. So I don't want to leave, but
okay.
I'll send that to you as well after.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig a little bit further into that, y'all. Yeah, this is deep.
Let me let me read this to you too, because this brings up the Earth Ethiopia's Scorched Earth campaign. It says in 1967, Ethiopia scorched the earth campaign to destroy the Eritrean revolution. This campaign, before this time, the second division of the Ethiopian based in Eritrea had a size of one brigade. However, after this broad campaign, the remaining two brigades were mobilized to Eritrea. During the 1967 Ethiopian Scorched Earth campaign, hundreds of Eritrean villages were torched and thousands of innocent civilians were murdered. In the upper Barka region alone, 62 villages were burned. 62! That's crazy. Several villages were burned in the Hasmol plain, and over 253 civilians were killed in that village. On top of these, 30 other villages were burned in the Sahel, Sindh areas, and many people were also killed in a similar destructive campaign. The Ethiopian army murdered over 115 people in Simhar. As a result of this, around 30,000 citizens were forced into Sudan as refugees. This was the first wave of refugees by the time of independence. The number of refugees in Sudan and other countries had swelled to about 500,000 or half a million because of what this Messiah, Haile Selassie, he does lie a lot. It's just unfortunate that this information, which I'm glad we're doing it now, wasn't presented to the world a long time ago.
Hmm. Wow. No, this is deep, bro. Because it, I mean, it really speaks to why. some of the, I guess you can say, just gaps in the information. Can you see what I have on the screen at the moment? Are you able to see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So, can you speak to maybe some of this? If possible, are you
Um,
familiar with some of this stuff? Because this isn't Egypt that we're looking at here.
this is Sudan and
I
Eritrea.
know it looks like. Yes.
Right. And once again, we gotta ask ourselves, right? What are we looking at? These are structures. These are structures built a certain way, which means you have to have some kind of understanding about math. You gotta have to have understanding some kind of like not a degree in engineering, but you know what I mean when I say engineering, right? You gotta have to understand how to build these sophisticated pyramids or places of worship or even places where you store food, right? So a lot of individuals see some of these structures, don't even realize what kind of structure they're looking at. But the fact is, who should get the credit, right? And where does this understanding come from? We have to once again start looking at these major civilizations. Or when we get a book by Christopher Ehret and he talks about the language, right? The lingua franca of the time and where that seed came from and where that understanding. We earlier were looking at a different book, how we connected the paintings, the rock paintings in South Africa to up to Eritrea. Now we're talking about Sudan, which I gotta get it out of one of these books, one of these crates, but it talks about how the carving of Africa and how they partition parts of Eritrea to present day Sudan. So there are a lot of places. Oh, that's the Sphinx that they actually have. That one is in Eritrea. There's a Sphinx in Eritrea. There's also a place called Symbol, like Abdu Symbol, but there's a lot of places that connect right back into Eritrea that people don't even understand because they're looking at it from the lenses of modern time. But you can't do that, especially when you're looking at history. The maps of Kush or Nubia did not actually encompass all of Sudan today. So somebody has to ask the question, well, if Kush and Nubia didn't cover the whole region of what we know is today to be Nubia or Sudan, just like we just looked up Ethiopia, it didn't cover what we know as Ethiopia today. It's like somebody telling you Ukraine was always this size. No, it wasn't. Right? When we go into history, we start to see that it was a lot smaller. Right? We already broke down where Aksum was. So people really gotta they gotta really unlearn a lot of these things before they actually want to have a conversation with us because they're still in that mindset, even though they don't think they're Eurocentric, but it is Eurocentric because you're taking away the truth from the actual people that built all of these amazing things. That gave you that civilization, right? That gave you that knowledge of language. That gave you the boat making skills, seafaring. Like, what are we talking about here?
You see what we got up right now? Remember we were having this conversation about this place the other day?
Yep.
Dongola or Dongolo?
Yep.
How do you pronounce it?
Dongolo. Yeah,
Dongolo.
it's Dongolo, but they got it spelled as the Dongolo. And it's weird. Different maps will have it DA, and then some of them will say Dongola, or they'll just say LO, but they're referencing the same place, which you will find in Eritrea, Dongolo. And we actually, our, my brother that we were chopping it up with, right? What was his name on Clubhouse? What did he go by?
Dongolo.
Exactly. There's a reason why,
Right.
right? So, but they will tell you though there is no connection. They would say, "Oh, it's just it is what it is." No, you're talking about an ancient group of people that really kind of paved the way for everybody else.
Yeah.
Nakada. That's yeah, man. It's a lot of information. Like for instance, if you Google Kasala, if you just Google where is Kasala, Kassala, I believe, it's gonna pull up Sudan. But this is actually an Eritrean place. This is legitimately, if you go to Kasala, you will. It's not but Eritreans. You go to Port Sudan. You gonna see
Spell it one more
hella,
time.
hella Kassala or LA.
I think I got it.
Yep, there it
Yep, I
is.
got it.
Uh-huh. And where does it show? Or it says?
It says Sudan first.
Hmm.
But soon, yeah, so it says the capital of the state of Kassala in eastern Sudan. In
Hmm.
2002, its population was recorded just under a million. Now, but if you come right here, it says in 1885, Kassala was subsequently captured by the Mahdists in 1894 after the Battle of Kassala. The Italians captured the city from the Mahdists in 1897. The Kingdom of Italy returned Kassala to the Kingdom of Egypt in order to get international recognition of Italian colony of Eritrea. What?
All goes back into what? Editor.
Yeah,
Once again. You got
what do we just read? Like, does that even make
uh-huh.
sense? What?
Yeah, man.
That,
They gonna think we
that ain't,
good.
hold on, I got to read this part again. In 1897, the Kingdom of Italy returned Kassala to the Kingdom of Egypt. How could they return it to the Kingdom of Egypt? In order to get international recognition of the Italian colony of Eritrea. Oh, so they gave that to them so that Egypt would recognize them. Wow. As they were attempting to colonize Eritrea, they said, here, take this little piece to the south of you and, just recognize us, please. Wow. This is almost like when George Washington wrote the letter to the Sultan of Morocco to get recognition for the United States. Very interesting. Wow. Yeah, brother. So back to the point of this whole demonstration. We're dealing with the cradle, the mother of civilization. We dealt with this gentleman who has did his best, I believe, to try to erase the history of Eritrea from the books, much like certain people have tried to erase Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Americans and our true heritage uh, here, uh, tracing us back to Africa. Because I hear a lot of conversation of people um, doing everything they can to avoid Africa, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure where they're getting their information from. Um, even and look, I have native blood. I have Blackfoot blood, possibly even some what they calling Cherokee uh, blood as well. However, even you can trace all of the Native American DNA samples slash haplotypes and haplogroups, and there's only one place that all of that points back to. One place. It's Africa. And I have that information in these slides. I don't know if I want to go into that right now because that's not what we're talking about. So I don't want to get off topic. Um, but we found that this is obviously the home of pyramid building, right? So this is the foundation of all of that. It's also, as we spoke of earlier, if I'm gonna go back, I mean, this is the ancient land of Punt. This is the area from which the out of Africa migration happened. So this is not by chance that we're having this particular episode with this particular topic. We've already covered that the language of this area is considered the father and the oldest of all languages in Eritrea. Um, And last week, brother, I don't know if you remember when we touched on the language, the Dravidian language here. Let's see here, Sanskrit, which Sanskrit is considered. Let me see if I can pull this up here. The mother of language. See this here, Sanskrit. Okay, who is the mother of all languages? Sanskrit. In the beginning, Sanskrit stood as a mother of all languages and encouraged all languages and was the reason for their growth and prosperity. One may note that most of the works in Sanskrit have been translated into other Indian languages. Now, the reason why this is so key, if you do any etymological studies, you'll see Sanskrit. I mean, it goes into the Indo-European languages and touches all of that stuff, right? So, if Giz is the father, Sanskrit is the mother, and as we discovered last week, that Sanskrit is literally just another version of Giz. What does it say here? Over 100 years ago, Sir William Jones pointed out that Giz and Sanskrit writing are one and the same. He explained that this is supported by the fact that both writing systems went from left to right. Sanskrit and Giz share identical vowels in the same order, and the vowels were annexed to the consonants. So we're looking at the same language rules, the same actual scripts being used in these two writing systems that are considered the mother and father, and the father, which predates the mother and is actually the the meat of the mother language, all comes from Eritrea. And we can see it here if we wanted to go a little bit deeper, if you guys actually want to see the script. But this is covered better in like 2 or 3 videos back. If you guys want more information on that. My brother, did you want to say something?
Well, not even just that. If we look at the Chinese alphabet, right? If
Mm,
you combine some of these Giz alphabets together and stack them on top, you can see the correlation. You can really see the correlation. And then, I mean, after the fact that you're gonna, bring up that, like we had discussed before, that the professor out of Shanghai University, Jin Lee, right, connecting them back to East Africa. We've already broken down the out of Africa migration. Um, so it's just, and then when you look at the throne of Adalus, or the what is the book called? The Periplus of the Eritrean Sea, right? Uh, you'll see that there is a voyage going from Eritrea in East Africa all the way to Asia, right? Although not Western Asia, but China, right? And then you got to ask yourself, right? What about Japan? Because there is a connection there too, right? They didn't just stop. They literally didn't. And then if you go up north, all the way up to Russia, you will see that connection also to Eritrea. Recently, the Putin had, or somebody in Russia had released the images of what these figures look like, right? And they were hella African. And we
yeah,
already broke down where that book comes from. But then also, you got to look into an individual named Pushkin, what they deem to be the father or grandfather of modern literature for Russia. And Eritrean, there's a whole statue of him in Eritrea. There was, since we're speaking on the Indus, I got to get Renoko Rashidi book because, shout out to that elder. Um, he you know, it's a lot of brothers, that have put in some good work, regardless if they say Ethiopia or not, right? Because if they're just really truly trying to seek the truth, because I never got the chance to talk to the elder Renoko Rashidi, so I can't. But for a lot of these individuals nowadays that we can actually talk to, and they still saying that same craziness, you got to ask yourself why. Why? What do you gain from hiding the truth from our people? Just tell them. They're adults. But there's a couple of individuals though that I have seen, right? That I got no issues with. I would like to talk to them and see and just make that connection with them so they can see where we're coming from, because they're very astute. These are scholars. These brothers are very literate. It's like when I was having a conversation with you at the beginning, I started telling you a lot of these things. It wasn't hard for you to understand. Plus, you already had certain information too, because you were put me on to what's her name, Dana.
Sister Dana. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
She go deep.
and we got so there's people all over that are kind of touching on certain things that you can actually build with, that
Yeah,
where you can have a fruitful 3, 4, 5 hour conversation and just blow your mind.
yeah. No, that's a fact. Yeah, and it's interesting because holding the positions that we hold, especially not identifying under the black label, um, reading through a lot of, I guess you could say, scholarly writings, any kind of scholarship, basically, you're going to be dealing with people who are trained to use, I guess you could say, I'm trying to avoid just saying racist ideology. I want to say like the anthropological ideas and terminology that is used is basically white supremacist based, right? Um, and the way that they identify people is in a way that is ultimately, usually derogatory in some sense. So, when you read certain scholars, you have to be able to kind of navigate through some of that Negroid talk and, black and this, that, and the third, because we know what they're talking about. We know what they're saying. And so sometimes we just have to, like you said, use our discernment and just work through it. Because they're saying basically the same thing, but it takes I guess, a more sharpened pencil to be able to clarify the finer points when it comes to these topics, which I think we're doing a pretty good job of, even though kind of skipping around a little bit. But I think we're clarifying and uh, bringing clarity to the topic. Can you tell us a little bit about Kerma, the Kingdom of Kerma? Are you familiar with that?
I'm a little familiar about the Kingdom of Karma. I'm not gonna lie. I
This
don't
was
have
an,
too much.
this was something else that I found that they have listed under Nubia, but was also listed in Eritrea. So I was just asking if you had some more insight. I'm definitely going to be doing some more digging in these areas, and I think you've given me some great ideas on some other topics to look into regarding Eritrea. So I'm going to be adding more. So I got about 110 slides here, but they're not all just on Eritrea, but they're related to different things that are related to Eritrea. So, uh, like it's
So,
funny, even when I pulled up the Native American stuff, they all come back basically. Funny enough, let me uh, let me pull it up because I don't want to just say it. And I know I didn't want to get off topic with this, but let me see here. Okay, so says all indigenous American mtDNA can be traced back to five haplogroups A, B, C, D, and X. More specifically, indigenous Americans mtDNA belongs to subhaplogroups A2, B2, C1b, C1c, C1d, D1, and X2A, with minor groups C4c, D2A, and D4H3A. Right, so this is genetic history of indigenous peoples of the Americas. And I really wanted to just touch on this main thing, which is their foundational uh, haplogroup, which is haplogroup A. And as we can see here, haplogroup A is a human Y chromosome DNA haplogroup, which includes all living human Y chromosomes, bearers of extant subclasses of haplogroup A are almost exclusively found in Africa. Dramatic pause, right? In contrast with haplogroup BT, bearers of which participated in the out of Africa migration of early modern humans, which I was just about to point out. That's why I went ahead and read this, because if you've been watching, if you made it all the way through this, you noticed that I pulled up that slide at least twice dealing with the out of Africa migration, right? And where did they migrate out of Africa from?
Eritrea.
Okay. So, uh, yeah, man. And you can see here also.
It should start to make sense to people, hopefully, unless they really so lost in their sauce that, you know.
And I know, and look, I'll take the shots, when it comes to the DNA and the haplogroup stuff, because I know, the science isn't perfect. Uh, However, it's what we have at the moment outside of just knowing your family history, um, how we can trace certain things, or at least certain markers in the gene pool, and we can kind of like connect some dots using this science too. So I just wanted to point that out, that for my brothers and sisters out there who are claiming your Native American heritage, which I do as well. Don't get me wrong, uh, but I'm not claiming it in a way that is negating uh, its origin, if that makes sense. Like I'm clear on where people come from and where all of my people come from. Even my own family trees, and knowing my family name, like these things. That's why earlier. So not only do I claim Moorish American, but I also claim Sephardic Jewish blood real time. Like I can't run from that. That's just, it's my name. I can't. You see it on the screen, Hernandez. If you pull that up, you'll see that it is a Sephardic Jewish name. These are African Jews. So I can't hide from that. It's part of my heritage. It's part of my bloodline, my Blackfoot heritage. Like, it is what it is. My uncle recently, I talked to you about it. Did some DNA work. Uh, Points our family back to Egypt. And that's just one test. So we haven't even done. And that's a whole nother show, a whole nother conversation when it comes to the genetics and how to get the best results with your testing, etc. But yeah, brother. If you have something else to add, please do. If not, we can wrap it up, and we can come back and do a part two and go a little bit deeper, because I think this topic is a great topic. And yeah, I think if we do a little bit more digging, or if I do a little more digging, I think I'll be able to find some great points to really bring forward in this particular conversation.
100%. Yeah, I think this is a good time to go ahead and just stop, and just kind of let people marinate on what we gave them right now. And, hopefully next time, though, we can get these individuals to engage with us. If we can get the individuals to engage with us, I think we can show the people that we're not just sitting here kind of like making things up. We're going to show you that the people you guys have been listening to for majority of part have not given you the whole truth.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation. I think that's really what we're doing these shows for, primarily, is to clear up the misconceptions, clear up the lies, because I believe some of it is intentional, um, and make people, this the thing I'm hearing right now, everybody's throwing around source up, right? And like I said earlier in my other presentation, for these sources, I'm just putting up some light sources, like Wikipedia. People have their opinions on Wikipedia, etc. I'm just using it. It's more bait than anything. So if you think it's just Wikipedia searches, then you keep thinking that. But just know that for certain conversations and certain research, you don't need to go much deeper than just a little quick search. Of course, cross referencing is important, but from where we are in our understanding, we're able to uh, navigate through these Wikipedia streets pretty easily. And just always remember that on each of these pages, there is a bibliography down at the bottom. So always check your bibliographies. Always cross reference your information. Make sure you're getting quality information. And if you find in your cross reference that there's some issues, even in what we've presented, please bring it back up, bring it to me, send me an email, send me a message, say, hey, I found this that says, otherwise. Bring it to the table and let's deal with it, because I don't want to be out here saying the wrong thing either. So if you got some corrections, bring them to the table. If y'all enjoyed the show, definitely hit the like. We want to go ahead and jump in this algorithm game. Um, Please subscribe, put on the notifications. Uh, you can follow my brother on Twitter. Oh, by the way, I meant to come on. I tried to come on Twitter, but I've been off of there so long I could not remember my password, so I was not able to get on the other day when you sent me that link.
Oh, you good?
Before
We do it every week.
this is your Twitter handle here that you have.
No, 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 no. This is just a
You,
different
do you
handle.
want the
The
people to
Twitter.
follow you on Twitter?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you
Uh,
do, just
so
holler it out. Like,
okay. All right. Yeah. So the Twitter handle is Nakfa at Nakfa 23 NAKFA Nakfa 23. And we host shows every single Sunday. We're gonna host, and we talk about geopolitics and history because they are intertwined. Not trying to go off subject, but we even the books that I was reading for you, showing the connection of why we even showed you Haile Selassie kissing the ring, why we showed you this Ethiopian, because you keep hearing Ethiopia, that this Ethiopian leader, not just him, every single one of them, how they work with these colonizers. They will also tell you that they were never colonized, but once again, we will show you books how people that are alive during that time that know these individuals and how they acted. We're bringing you in on those Twitter spaces. We bring in fellow Africans from all over Africa, and we talk about the history from our perspective, not some European author that may have for sure lied about the history, but also lied about the context, the nuances. Why is Ethiopia why it's Ethiopia? Especially the fact that the African Union is in Ethiopia. It's not by coincidence, it's all by design. And that's what we're here to show you. We're sticking with the against the grain, right?
yeah, definitely. Unless we get
So
a
again,
cease and desist or something like that. Yeah, that's what how we rock.
we might have to look into that, but I bet you I guarantee you, just because we said that now, some of the haters are gonna be looking and they're gonna try to find a way to excuse me, to go ahead and take control of that. But it don't matter because we're still gonna go against the grain, right? And bring you
Right.
this information, whether you like it or not. It needs to be taught to the next generation, right? So that's not for 23. That's what we do. That's what we provide. Follow me, follow Doc, follow us, and help us bring this information to everybody else. Challenge those scholars that'll tell you about these African histories. Say, hey, there's some brothers over there against the grain. right? And they're talking about similar stuff you guys are saying, but they're not telling us that the country origin is Ethiopia or Kush or Nubia or I'm still laughing at that picture that he was trying to say the ancient Egyptians came from Libya only and where present day Egypt is now. It's all complete lies. It's all complete lies. We broke down where the ancient Egyptians actually come from, right? No, they never called Libya the land of gods.
No,
Come on now.
no.
There's no reason why you're going to give that title. There's no other reason why you would give a title, right? Even if it's your enemy, you won't call him that.
That's right.
So you're saying they're doing things no other man can do. And we're showing you the connections of the mother of all civilization. If land of gods is a reference to what mere man cannot do, but in this area, they're doing things what others aren't doing or can't do, period. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, not for 23. I think this was another great show, man.
I think we definitely touched some points, some good points. I'm not sure what happened to my video. Kind of disappeared on me, but it's all good. Um, yeah, I think it was a good show. I think made some good points. I would definitely like to do a part two so we can drive home the title, because I do think it's it can be definitely controversial. A lot of people feel a certain way about the cradle of civilization, and I just want to make sure that, or the mother of civilization, I want to make sure we drive the point home. I think we brought some great points to the table, but I really want to knock it out the park in part two in such a way where it's like there's no doubts, no debates. You know, obviously the first slide was pretty undebatable at that point, but um, yeah, I think there's some more archaeological and anthropological evidence that we can bring forward that is really going to drive the point home, and really support some of the points that we already made.
Yep. And we got primary sources.
Definitely.
So however they want to get it, they can get it. Yeah, man, great show, brother. I can't wait for the next one to come. I honestly, I just hope we can get some of these people to engage with us, to interact with us, so we can show the rest of the world, right, what where the truth lies and why we even decided to do what we're doing. So yeah, I can't wait till next week.
All right, family. We're gonna let y'all get some rest, and we're gonna see y'all on the next episode. So again, just hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, and we'll be back soon. Peace.
So.